So there are numerous people here who've come a long way and put in a lot of effort. The next gentleman I'm looking to introduce, I had the distinct pleasure of meeting him maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I've been inspired by his strength of character, his strong message, and one of the things I'd like to do today is to demonstrate just how powerful it can be when all the groups unite and organize. And Kara Zimmerman made today possible. I'd like to thank her and you know, in a show of unity, the different groups, we may have different approaches or different things, but in the end, we're all fighting for children, and we're a collective, unified body. And Kara making it possible today has been tremendous. And I now have the distinct pleasure of bringing along a man who really he is a man who got himself in the ring, and a problem came to him. He decided he was going to roll up his sleeves and do something about it, and he's doing something about it in a huge way. So I am so proud to introduce the candidate for governorship of the great state of Illinois. Please welcome Mr. Kash Jackson to the stage. Thank you, Kash. Truly my pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Well, there's a wonderful backdrop back here behind us. We've got a beautiful day to be out here today. Just a little bit ago, Commander-in-Chief went by, Donald Trump went by in his caravan, and he was able to see a lot of the signs that we had up here. And I want to thank Kara Zimmerman, and had she not reserved Upper Senate Park, there's no way that Donald Trump would have seen those signs from Lower Senate Park today.
Good job, Kara! Hoorah! Good job!
Let's be honest. Humility is a hard thing to come by, and swallowing one's own personal pride is a difficult thing to do. Okay, here we are in a movement of men and women, grandmothers, grandfathers, and all of us are hurting in some capacity. All of us are scarred, and we have pain and suffering that we've endured. And I myself have to say that I've not always done things the right way, and I've said things that I shouldn't have said. And publicly, I want to say to Kara and her organization and others that I do apologize. I apologize for my own public behaviors, my own things that I've said that I should have not have done. I should have done what men like Brian Kinter and others that I admire and respect have asked me to do. And that's to try and take a higher road. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't really matter, because what matters is that we're all fighting the same cause, and that cause is for our children.
Woo! Yeah! Amen, brother. Let it out.
You know, I'm learning a lot. I'm a young man in this world. I don't believe that I'm old for a second, albeit my body says differently. But we're in a war right now. We're in a war for our children. We're in a war for future generations. And we're trying to accomplish something that has not been accomplished for decades. Right back behind us in this backdrop, it's not just scenery that we're looking at. It's not just a piece of history that we're admiring. This is the American dream that we're fighting for. And it's not a white picket fence. It's not ensuring that everything's perfect in our lives, because it never will be. But nothing is more precious to me as a father than my children. Nothing is more precious in our lives as human beings than our children. And what we have occurring in our nation is that we have ignored the plight of men and women. We have accosted them because of their poverty, from where they come from their backgrounds, and said that, you know what, there's something wrong with you. You lost your children for a reason. You don't deserve to have those children. The judges can't be that wrong. The Department of Children and Family Services can't be that wrong. They can't be making that many mistakes. And that is a lie. I'm here to tell you, as a 20-year Navy veteran, as a 2018 Illinois gubernatorial candidate, as an American and as a father, that there's absolutely something fundamentally wrong in my country today. We're in D.C. for one specific purpose, and one specific purpose only: to fight for our children and for our grandchildren, for future generations.
Yeah.
I will not have for 1 second believe that men and women died for this country so that you could raise your children, so that you could raise your grandchildren and have that relationship that God ordained. This is something that God gave us. The American government has no business profiting off the destruction of families. They have no business federally incentivizing the trafficking of children, resulting in the untold abuses that are occurring inside foster care, treating men and women as though they're not worthy of being mothers or fathers to their children, treating grandparents as though because they didn't give birth to the child that they have zero rights to have a relationship with that child. That is not something that I fought and I defended. I defended your liberties. I defended your freedoms. And I also must say that I owe you a deep, deep apology for not knowing what was happening in this country. It was my job. It's what you paid me to do. I collected a paycheck every 2 weeks for 20 years because you paid me to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I have to say, again, I can't blame the government. I can't blame anybody else other than myself because it was my own ignorance, it was my own apathy that did not allow me to see what was right in front of my very eyes. That was the men and women in my own communities who were suffering. It was them that I swore to protect.
Many of us did, brother. Yep. You're not alone. You're not alone.
I hurt more than many of you know, okay? And sometimes that pain, it comes out in anger. It comes out in hurt. But what I said yesterday, what I told yesterday to the men and women that I talked to yesterday, do not bottle that pain up. Do not stuff it down. You own that because that pain is you. It is who you are. That is the truth. When you release that, emotion, when you release that pain, even in small bouts, you are telling the truth to everyone around you that you are hurting. Because when you stand before me and you put on a face and a facade that you're not in pain, that you don't hurt, then you're lying to me and you're lying to those around you. Tell the truth. Show them that you hurt, but do it in a constructive way. I will do better in 2017 and in 2018. I will work harder to be a better man, a better father, and a better American. I will work stronger to develop relationships, to develop coalitions, so that we can be strong and unified as one. Woo. And not divided.
Yeah. Hoorah. We'll follow your lead.
Well, brother, I don't want you to follow my lead. I want you to stand side by side with me.
No, you are leading, brother, right there.
That's what we do.
Keep it going.
We march in lockstep together. We hold hands, we lock arms, and we form a wall to protect our children, our grandchildren, and all future generations, and we ensure that they will never, ever again endure what we have endured as parents and as citizens in this country. I guess just in closing, again, I want to say thank you to Kara Zimmerman. Thank you to Dr. Carlos Rivera for being brave enough to come out here. Thank you for Brian Kinter for the wisdom that you extend. Thank you to Willow Moon for representing Native Americans across this nation that have heard their voices heard while you have been here in D.C. You guys come up here and join me. Willow, Brian, Kara, Tony, all of you guys come up here. All you guys come up here. Grandmothers, aunts, uncles. All of you come up here.
Go, go, go.
Kyle Paskowitz, project manager, who helped me out. Get up here. I know you're in the Army and you're not as fit as I am, but get up here. You want me to read it? Okay.
As we bring these brave individuals up and actually true inspirations and true fighters, I have there's something that I read often for inspiration. It's from a speech from our former president, Teddy Roosevelt. And I had shared this with Kash Jackson on a prior occasion. And what I I think it strongly reflects what I feel is the true character that Kash has, and why I fully support him in his efforts and his fight that he will become the governor of the great state of Illinois. Because I'm going to ask him to read something that's very, very important to us. And when you hear this man read this excerpt, you will see what brings him to this fight, and to become a leader to fight for our rights, and a leader alongside of us right now. And I'm going to ask Kash Jackson to please read this for us.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcomings. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best in the end of the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. These men and women up here will not know victory nor defeat because they are marred. They have been into the fray of battle. They stand strong. They stand valiantly behind me, alongside me, in front of me, around me, because we're a circle of warriors, and we will not stop until we have our children back.
Love work.